Started. Hello, everyone. I am Bill Worster, a.k.a. Zazubaar.
And I am Superdm64.
And we are welcoming you to the third episode of The Demons from Outer Space, a podcast by Bill Worster and Dylan McCandless, keeping up the pretentious title.
Indeed.
Episode 3, Dylan. Episode 3.
I know.
The trilogy, if you will.
We are coming along in the world of podcasts.
Yes. If we ended it right here, we could be considered the Demons from Outer Space trilogy.
My God. Okay, this is the last episode, everybody. Good night.
Then we have to retitle them. Fucking the Demons from Outer Space, New Hope, Demons from Outer Space, the fucking, the Ghost of Piss Pants Strikes Back.
And see, this is what we do. We just, like, start remastering them over and over and over and over and over again.
Segments, they're like, we make one, like, an extra hour longer just with, like, fluff in it.
And everybody gets mad because Piss Pants shot first, and it'll be great.
Right, exactly. Piss Pants shot first at the end of the third podcast. This one of us screams no inexplicably. It kind of ruins the dramatic impact of the scene.
We make a new trilogy that, like, most people...
We do a prequel trilogy?
We make a Demons from Outer Space prequel trilogy that, like, a bunch of people will really hate, and, like, some people will think it's, yeah, alright.
Then some people will think that it's better than the original, but those people will be in mental assignments.
They will be in mental assignments.
Let me just get this out of the way. I apologize. I don't know why, but today I have just been unable to speak. Just at least coherently. Just all day.
That makes for a great podcast.
Right. Well, I have you to lean on in this case. I just recorded a review of Thor: The Dark World. And I'm pretty sure I come off as an unintelligible fucking, like, not monosyllabic monster in that, because I don't know. All day I've just been having this hard time expressing myself. Which is bizarre because guess what? This morning I actually had an oral presentation in Fundamentals of Speech in college, which is not as gay as it sounds.
That is why.
Probably.
You blew a circuit, and now your brain no talk no more.
But I mean, wouldn't you think that would make me more eloquent in my speech? Because I've gotten my brain going with eloquent speech. So then for the rest of the day, I've kind of got my fix. Because I have noticed in the past that if I'm by myself at home in the morning and I stay home and I don't talk to anyone for, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours. The minute I try and open my mouth, I will come off like some kind of fucking mentally retarded, like, fucking hobo found under the fucking Brooklyn Bridge.
This is how you should show up to G-Fest.
Oh, there, everybody! Zazubaar!
They're like,
Superdm64.
They're like, who is this guy?
I think it's Bill Cosby. Now, Bill Cosby isn't that dumb.
The crazy part is that for some reason I couldn't show up, but you think I'm there, and everybody's like, "Who is he?"
I'm talking to myself the whole night.
They're like, "Who is he talking to?" There's nobody there.
Well, he was going to bring his friend with him, but his friend backed out when he saw how fucking retarded he became, so now he's just here talking to himself. Hey, Dylan, look at Jiris! It's Jiris, everybody, look!
Jiris, you look like Gomez.
You ripped off Gamera!
Don't rip off Gamera.
Everyone's like, Gamera's a turtle.
You walk up to...
I knew that!
You walk up to Ultraman, quit ripping off Jet Jaguar.
And then I buy a copy of Reptilian, and I'm just like, this is such a ripoff of Gorgo!
Yes.
It's just unintelligible nonsense. Much like most of this show. Oh, that's depressing. Anyway. So, many things have happened over the course of this week. Many things have been released, many things have been discussed. It's been an intense week. But let me just say this. Let me bring you listeners into the behind the curtain of the Demons from Outer Space. We're gonna show you a little bit of a skin tonight.
We have a curtain.
Yes, we do now. We bought a curtain. The budget has gone up.
I didn't know we had the budget for that. That's impressive.
We just bought one, Dylan.
You guys, we just spruced up our cardboard box with a curtain. You should be
the cardboard box outside of like fucking FYE. It's the cardboard box I mentioned in the last SOS podcast. The one I live in the corner of fucking FYE.
Yeah, that's the headquarters of DFOS.
Exactly. That's the headquarters of us. We just sit in there and just talk about bullshit for an hour and a half. People just walk by and they're just like, what the fuck are they talking about?
You like to pretend that it's like a secret elevator and that there's like a bat cave in there, but there's no secret elevator and there's no.
I pull out a DVD and put it back in, and I think that like opens up the box. Really, it just doesn't. It just like it doesn't do anything. It's just all in my head. Well, let me take you listeners on a little bit of a tour behind the scenes of the Demons from Outer Space. That is the back of the box, and that is where Dylan shit. That is it. No, so
you're going to
Dylan
take the viewers behind the curtain. It's a scary place.
Indeed. Dylan and I started. This show was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I think I proposed the idea to you like 2 days before we recorded the pilot.
Yeah, it was like, you want to do a podcast? I was like, yeah, let's fucking do it. And then we did it.
Yeah, exactly. And then we did it, and then we sat on it for a week because Dylan made the title card, which you've all seen by now, which is fucking sexy. I had some help in that. And, of course, I had to do an intro for it, and I wanted to edit it a little bit, so it came out about a week late. And the other problem with the first episode, of course, was we had that rocky ending where Dylan's internet cut out. So we had that problem. So I sat on it for a week, and I released it the day we recorded the second episode. So we recorded the second episode as the first episode was being uploaded. So I realized we will be a week ahead every single week when we do the show, unless I do a week where I upload two, which I was definitely considering doing. I think I was considering doing that like Sunday, because I was thinking I don't want to be a week ahead every single week because it's going to sound weird when we mention things that are happening. When it's like, hey, what the fuck, that happened a week ago. So I think that for the sake of the podcast and for the sake of our listeners, it might be better if we started doing them, the week the episode is supposed to go up, we record it. Now, I know that sounds kind of lazy, like, oh, they're waiting to the last minute. But, well, kind of, yeah. But it also kind of makes them more current, which I like.
Yeah, see, this is the only way that we can make it more current without any weirdness, because unfortunately, we can't convince you people that we are actually Time Lords.
Right, we were unable to do that. Although Dylan and I have regenerated several times, but no one fucking believes us. Everyone just thinks we're crazy.
As far as they know, I have.
Listen, man, my left eye, it twitched a little bit yesterday. That was a full-on regeneration.
Oh, that's impressive.
So what happened was I was considering uploading 2 episodes this week. But then a fate came knocking, and Sid Part 2, well, he didn't reveal this directly, but I had forgotten about this. Next week, next Thursday is when we record the Demons from Outer Space, and next Thursday, this is also a little bit of advertising. You see this little segue I'm doing here, Dylan? Isn't that classy?
You're tying all that together there.
Yeah. Next Thursday on Sid Part 2's channel, we will be doing the 100th episode of Geeky Gentlemen live in front of 10 people.
Bill will be his drunk self.
I will be portraying the drunk version of Bill without a hint of liquor in me. Milan will be his usual crazy self, and Ian will be his usual just straight-up mean self. So that we'll be doing that, so we can't record Demons from Outer Space on the normal day. And rather than try and make our schedules match up on a different day, since Thursday just works well for both of us,
yeah,
I said to myself, well, an episode's going to go up anyway because we're a week ahead, so why don't we just use this as an opportunity to go current? So that episode will go up, and then the following week, it'll be a current We Recorded It That Week podcast. So it was funny, I fucking texted Dylan yesterday, and I was just like, dude, I am an unintentional genius! And he was like, why? And I was like, well, when I explain it, it's going to sound a lot less genius.
To which I replied, even better.
Yes, and I told him that story. So, from now on, from this episode forward, since this one is a week ahead, you're hearing this a couple days before the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who airs.
Anybody in the audience confused yet?
Yeah, anyone can...
I just rewatched King Ghidorah and I wasn't this confused.
What?
I said I just rewatched King Ghidorah and I wasn't this confused.
So from this point on, the episodes will be current and we will not sound confusing, because it bothered me because in the second episode, which is uploading now as we're recording the third,
which you hopefully heard a week ago.
Right. Oh god, fuck, this is confusing. Basically, there's a moment in that where we talk about the Day of the Doctor trailer, but we're referring to the teaser trailer where there's no footage from the actual episode in it.
And then, like, the day later, they brought out the actual trailer.
Right, and so I think people are going to be confused, but, like, that's not what that was like.
Now we got a teaser, and we got a regular trailer, and we got a prequel, we got all this stuff.
We have, like, 15 different trailers now. It's insane. We went from knowing nothing to knowing too much.
If only that would happen for Godzilla.
Oh, God, don't even get me started. So... What? Oh, okay. All right, okay. I got lost for a second. So that was a point where I was like, I don't want that to happen every week. So, you know what, from now on, let's try and do these current. So this is a good excuse to do that. So I just thought I'd reveal that to the listeners. I like to keep the listeners as almost like they're a part of the podcast. Almost like it's like they're in the room here with us. They're in the box with us, so to speak. They're right here in the sweaty, fucking damp cardboard mess that is the Demons from Outer Space. I'm
sure they're very grateful for that, Bill.
Right?
I'm sure they're very happy that you've decided to bring them into that dank, depressing box.
Oh, God. I'm sure they're thrilled. But speaking of the Day of the Doctor...
The mental images that we have inspired in our viewers this evening.
we're going to give Milan a run for his money.
I don't think so, but yeah.
But speaking of Day of the Doctor, today... Again, this is a week late, so last week, I suppose, for our listeners out there, but we're going to speak relatively for each other's sake. Today, in our time, they just released the prequel minisode to the Day of the Doctor, the 50th anniversary Doctor Who special.
Right.
And it is fucking insanely awesome.
I should have known they were going to do one of these, because they've been doing these, like, prequel episodes, like, for a couple seasons now, and I've never really, like, watched them just because I was like, ain't nobody got time for that. But this was amazing.
Oh, if you're a Doctor Who fan, you have to watch this one. I was of the same mindset. I didn't watch the one from The Name of the Doctor, and then I watched it later, and I was like, I don't get it. It didn't make any sense to me.
They usually, from what I understand, don't really give that much away.
No, not at all. But it's just a fun little bit that kind of sort of sets up what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that I found kind of necessary, but you can still watch the episode without it, is the Asylum of the Daleks prequel, where you have the Doctor sitting in the cafe and somebody comes to him and they start having this conversation, and the ending he just goes, Scarrow, and then he shows up on Scarrow. But even then, you didn't need it. It just kind of it's just there to explain how the Doctor got to Scarrow.
Right, yeah.
But the other ones I thought were pointless. I remember there was another one. Oh, there was one that was set up before Season 7 was supposed to start with the Pawn Life. I don't know if you saw that one. It was a series of minisodes about what the Pawns were doing in between Series 6 and 7.
I did not watch them. No, I know that I was aware that they exist.
Yeah, it's basically just showing us what their married life is like with the Doctor still out there running around. And it only proceeds to piss me off about how Series 7 brought them back, because the God Complex is my favorite episode of Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
And in that episode, they do a fantastic job of closing out the of Amy and Rory being the Doctor's companions. It's an amazing ending, and it's very different from what they did before.
But we just had to have it again, didn't we?
Right? So, they're not dead, so we're going to bring them back for Series 7, and this time, they're going to have marital problems! It's like, oh joy.
I smell a sitcom.
What was that?
I smell a sitcom.
Oh god, I would love Stephen Moffat to write a fucking Pawn Life sitcom.
It's like, it picks up where that last episode left off. They're stuck in 1930s New York, and it's just the Pawns in 1930s New York living their life.
Rory starts talking like a 1930s guy. Hey, Amy, see?
Going to a therapist for their irrational fear of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh god. Amy starts taking writing classes.
Indeed.
Yep. Oh wait, she didn't write the book, did she?
No.
No, she wrote the book.
River wrote the book, didn't she?
Right, and then Amy wrote the epilogue.
Right, so she's got to take classes so that she can write the epilogue.
I wonder if that book makes sense to anyone else except them.
Probably not.
Especially that ending, because that ending is so fucking specific. I mean, she mentions the Doctor by name.
I imagine that that it wasn't much of a seller.
Right? I mean, you would assume so. However, Amy and the Doctor are reading the book at the beginning of the episode like it's a normal book. Now, they pick up very quickly that it seems to have them in it, but at first it's like they're reading it like a normal book, which would imply that it's somewhat successful if they know what it is.
Well, I mean, we only get bits and pieces of it, so I'm assuming that when River wrote it, she had to weave all these elements together in a way that actually not only made sense for the actual situation, but also made sense in context of the story.
Yes, I agree, but you gotta wonder what the critics' reaction to that book was.
Yeah.
Because, see, here's another bit of advertising. Dylan and I and the rest of the SOS are working on a documentary right now called Shenpei's Toy Shop,
which you should go watch.
Which
if it's out in your crazy time dimension, whatever this is.
Probably not. David's gonna wait till the last minute to do his fucking part. So
yeah, I'm gonna wait till the next to last minute. That way I can just be like, "Geez, David."
Yeah, right. Just so we can fucking hold it over David. So it's probably not out yet, but you can check out the episode of the Sons of Sarazawa podcast in which we come up with the idea, which is also called Shenpei's Toy Shop, in which we overanalyze Godzilla's Revenge.
Oh, which, by the way, if you want a good laugh, go watch Room 237.
Oh yeah, definitely. Go check out the documentary about the true meaning of The Shining called Room 237.
It's on YouTube in like 8 or 9 parts, but it's much easier if you have Netflix to just go watch it on Netflix.
It's on Netflix?
It is on Netflix. I rewatched it. It's on Netflix.
Oh shit, that's fucking awesome. Yeah, definitely check it out on Netflix. Or if you don't have Netflix, again, it's on YouTube, so you can check it out there. Anyway, you gotta wonder if what the analysis, the literary analysis of that book was, if there was one, which I imagine there would be given what time period it was published in. And if it was a moderate success. Like, I wonder how they analyzed what was going on in that story.
Yeah, I wonder what they thought the underlying themes were.
Right, because again, it's just there to help the Doctor figure out the situation. And
it's probably one of those really. It was probably one of those really weird things where people read it and then thought they had to like go kill some famous person.
Oh god, it's like a Catcher in the Rye type situation.
They read it and they're like, "Kill John Lennon," and they're like, "This is They're like, "This is 1930s New York. Who's John Lennon?"
Oh my god. But I mean, like, especially that ending, that fucking epilogue that Amy writes. It's like it's so specific, and it mentions the Doctor by name. You gotta wonder what the fuck people thought about it. Like, they were interpreting the meaning where it's, I don't know, I imagine it fucked with people, where it's like, what does this mean? What does this mean for life?
I bet there were people like the nostalgia critics of the day that were just like, this book is so pretentious. All it's doing is saying, ask me what it means, ask me what it means.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I imagine that was exactly what they thought.
Ask me what it means.
Even though it's literally like the most simplistic story ever written. There is, at least based on what we know of it, there is no finesse to it. It's literally almost like a map of, almost like a factual recount of that situation.
Right. It's more like a, I don't know. It's more like a play-by-play, or what are those things called? Where like, you know what I'm talking about? It's almost more like a synopsis of what's happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Than it is a story. It doesn't feel like a narrative.
Well, it's essentially a map for the Doctor.
Pretty much, yeah.
And he's the only one who realistically should be able to follow it, but it's published as a novel. So you've got to wonder, I really wish fucking they would release that book as like a companion piece to that episode.
Which it makes me wonder why she had to be so cryptic about it. You know, she can write, "Hello, sweetie," in a mountainside, but she can't just like send him a simple fucking message.
Right? That was one thing where it's like she goes back in time to Sanskrit in a message into the side of the Earth, and then, or was it the Earth or was it an alien planet?
It was on some alien planet. It was like the oldest.
Okay. I thought it was Earth. I was like, that didn't happen.
It was the oldest writing in the universe. Right,
exactly. It just says, "Hello, sweetie."
Which makes me wonder why none of the other Time Lords ever decided to go there and see what it meant.
Right? Like, this is the first, like, you would think that would be one of the first things he would fucking do.
Like, why does it sit there undeciphered until season, what is it, 6? 5?
Right, I mean, all Time Lords have the chameleon circuit and its ensuing effects where they can understand any alien language. So why the fuck didn't somebody go there and be like, hey, let's find out what the fuck that is, it could be important. And then someone says, "Hello, sweetie," it's like, oh, it's just somebody pulling a fucking joke.
Wonderful. They're like looking. They're like looking around at all their Time Lord buddies. Did you do this? Am I being punked?
a drunk group of Time Lords is like, ah, guys, isn't that so fucked up?
Am I getting punked here?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's very convenient that the Doctor would only go there when he would know what it means. Like it took 11 regenerations for him to have context for that particular message, and then he goes to see that message during that regeneration. I find that very convenient.
Right, like the Weeping Angel one from the two-parter makes sense. The whole black box thing, that makes sense, because she didn't really care which version of the Doctor she got. It was just like, I need the Doctor to save me right now. Black box, boom.
Oh, in season 5. Okay, I thought you were talking about Silence of the Library. I was like, that wasn't the Angels.
No, that was in season 4. She didn't.
Season 5.
Yeah, the Silence in the Library was in season 4. The thing that I'm talking about is in season 5.
Yeah, Time of the Angels, and
she didn't even send him a message in season 4. She just sort of showed up. It's like, we're married. Well,
no, she sent him a message.
She does? When?
Yeah, via the psychic paper.
Oh yeah, that's right. It turns out that was her. I haven't watched that episode in a while.
It's been a while for me too. But she does send him a message. I watched all the scenes that she's in, now knowing all that I know. It works so much. It works on an entirely different level if you watch it in the context of the rest of the show.
Oh yeah.
It is insane. Like when you watch it knowing all that, she kind of becomes the protagonist.
Yeah, she really drives everything along from like the point that she shows up.
You and her are the only ones who know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So to know that, it kind of makes her the protagonist, which is awesome because I love River's song, and to see her and to see the and to see the 10th Doctor through those eyes, it's very interesting because when you watch it for the first time, you're with the 10th Doctor. You're like, what the fuck's going on? I don't understand this.
Who is this lady?
Who is this crazy bitch who wants to fuck me? But when you rewatch it through the eyes of, oh, okay, this is who she is, and you kind of look at the 10th Doctor like, damn it, dude, come on, you inexplicably know who she is.
You rewatch it and you're like, oh, that's why she wants to fuck me. Okay.
Exactly.
Now things make sense.
You're talking about yourself in the audience's shoes. Oh, so that's why a fictional character wants to fuck me.
That is the explanation. The science is sound?
Stephen Moffat is screening it to all the producers at Doctor Who.
And that's their first reaction.
Somebody is like, oh, Stephen, that's why she wants to fuck me.
He's like, what?
What are you talking about? Oh, I mean, the fictional character wants to have sex with me, right? Stephen, like, walks over to a fucking phone and goes, call the police now. And yes, what's the actress's name? Oh, fuck.
Alex Kingston.
Alex Kingston. Get Alex Kingston in protective custody. I don't know what this man's capable of. I almost said Alex Cross, but that's another fictional character.
Yeah, that's a dude, so.
And a black guy, so. Played by Morgan Freeman, so.
Morgan Freeman?
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman didn't play Alex Cross, did he?
Yes, he did.
He's too old.
This was back in the 90s. I will prove it to you right now. How many Alex Cross movies were there? You ever see Kiss the Girls?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just thinking of the remake.
Yeah, which is horseshit.
Is it?
With fucking Tyler Perry as fucking Alex Cross. You know who's supposed to play Alex Cross?
Because Tyler Perry is like the young Morgan Freeman, right?
Do you know who was supposed to play Alex Cross?
Who was supposed to play Alex Cross?
Idris Elba!
Oh.
And they canceled that because they wanted to get more appeal with Tyler Perry. Fuck that movie. Fuck that movie right up the ass.
Because Medea equals money.
Indeed.
And hey, who can blame him? I like money.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Oh God. Fucking Tyler Perry. Anyway, so we were talking about Doctor Who.
Right.
Morgan Freeman would be cool if he made a cameo in Doctor Who, just for no reason.
It turns out he's like, who are you? It turns out that there's another not Doctor from the Time War, and he was black.
Oh. No, what if he's just one of the Time Lords? That'd be awesome if he was a Time Lord. Morgan
Freeman is a Time Lord.
The moment has been prepared for by Morgan Freeman. That'd be awesome.
Morgan Freeman. If we just reverse the polarity of the neutron flow. He takes all of his companions to see penguins marching, and they're like, why are we watching this?
He just narrates it.
They're like,
and now the penguins will advance over the water.
It's like, why are we watching this? Because it made millions.
Because it'll make me rich. But you're alien. Why do you care about Earth currency? Don't question me, because I'm Morgan Freeman.
See, what I do is when I go to another planet, I take the money to the conversion office, and they.
Have you ever seen him play a villain?
Who, Morgan Freeman?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Well, he's kind of sort of an antagonist. Well, yeah, I guess you could call him the antagonist of Now You See Me.
He was also the villain in Wanted.
Wanted.
I think that, like, they would never do it, but imagine him as an older version of the Master.
Holy shit.
Tell me you don't pay to see that. I dare you.
I wouldn't have to. It would be on TV, but yeah, I would.
Like, no, the only way, one time only, Morgan Freeman in a Doctor Who episode as an old school version of the Master. I would pay overpriced to see that fucking episode.
Right? If it wasn't piratable, right?
Right? Oh, that too. No, they have legitimately made it where the only way you can see it one time is if you go to the theater.
Damn SOPA. Okay, okay, yes,
oh,
yes.
That would be awesome.
Okay, yes, I go and I pay money to see it.
It'd work with Capaldi's Doctor, too, because I'd like to see them both as older characters. Anyway, wow. We were trying to get somewhere. Night of the Doctor. Good shit. Good shit.
I only have 2 words for our audience. If you're a Doctor Who fan out there and you have not seen Night of the Doctor, I think there are 2 words that I can say that will make you go and watch it right now. Paul McGann.
Paul McGann! And he has the old school fucking sonic screwdriver, and he's got this Revolutionary War outfit on. It's fucking awesome.
And he's Paul McGann.
And there is a great reference to old school Doctor Who. I won't spoil it, but there's an amazing... The plot in and of itself is a reference to old school Doctor Who.
And there's no Eric Roberts.
Right. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. We'll spoil it. Since we want to talk about it. So if you haven't seen Night of the Doctor, it's about 6 minutes long. It's on BBC's YouTube channel. Go check it out. So go see it, and we'll give you literally 1 microsecond before we start spoiling it to go watch it.
Pause this video. Pause this video. Open another tab. Maybe we put a link in the description. Maybe we're too lazy. Either way, track it down, watch it, and then come back. Go on. I'll wait for you. No, I won't. You're pausing the video.
Fucking the Sisterhood of Khan.
The Sisterhood of Khan. Of Khan!
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, Khan! Now, I don't know who the fuck these women are, but they're Time Lords. That's all I know. They're Time Lords. So I was like, oh my god, Time Lords!
And apparently they work for God? No.
Oh god, he just fucking is just like to the Doctor, I will chase him around the Centauran moons.
They're like, you must go and show the Time Lords that revenge is a dish best served cold.
There is an old Dalek proverb that says that revenge is a dish best served cold. I'm sorry, Khan, but is it your name, Khan? Khan, the Daleks don't have emotions, so they don't have no concept of revenge. I will leave you here.
And what's worse?
Buried alive.
And what's worse? This is the wrong franchise.
Khan's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Because
I will not leave.
Because the Doctor, unlike most fictional characters, is aware of the fact that he exists within a franchise.
Oh, the Doctor so knows he's a fiction. In my version of Doctor Who, he knows he's a fictional character.
That's how you have crossovers with anything.
Yes, you can cross over with fucking you can do a JJ the Jet Plane Doctor Who crossover and have it make sense.
I want a Doctor Who Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle detective drama. Go.
Raphael is actually a Zygon.
My God.
Oh my God. But anyway,
they have to team up to save New York from the original Mutant Turtle.
The fucked up camera. In his first ever big screen appearance in a Doctor Who Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle crossover, the fucked up camera. Coming soon to a theater near you. Somehow that title gets past the censors.
Somehow they don't mind airing. Sometimes they don't. For some reason, they don't mind airing the fucked up camera. They have to play it after a certain time of night.
It's on fucking Cinemax at 2 in the morning. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. Doctor Who TMNT versus the fucked up camera.
They have to add in a bunch of sex scenes so that Cinemax will be like...
It's like Caligula for a Gamera movie, there's just scenes of random fucking.
And for some reason, Doctor Who and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, since the characters have already been shot, I mean by a camera, not by a gun, or not by jizz.
Or have they?
Or have they?
The gun. I mean.
Oh, that's less sexy. Anyway,
I don't need my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to be sexy.
What's the matter, Dylan? You didn't like the Italian porno spoof?
I can't say I did.
Oh my god, that thing is amazing.
I'm afraid I have.
This fucking couple of dudes just rocking around in like these shitty ass like paper TMNT costumes. They don't even put the masks on.
Sounds like the greatest classic since E.T. the porno.
Or the other version, the one God, what was the other one? The one that had a better costume, and it was significantly less creepy, but it had less fucking in it.
Hmm.
The one that didn't take place in 18th century Germany.
Right. Yeah.
Because that makes it better.
The one where it was like a green alien, wasn't it?
No, that was the other one. That was the one that everyone knows.
Okay.
The famous version of E.T. the porno.
Well, there's two versions that I know of. One where it looks like E.T. and it's learning.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
It's like learning sex from people.
No, wait, okay. No, that one's the porno. That's the one with the green one. The one where it comes to Earth and gets fucked by people just to learn what sex is, that's E.T. the porno.
Right.
The other one, the one that looks like E.T., is a different title, and it's like, it's boring.
But it's basically E.T. the porno.
I mean, yeah, it's a porno based on E.T., but it's not called that. It's called something else.
It has E.T. in it.
Fair enough.
A terrible E.T. and an E.T. that must be very tall among its species.
Oh Christ! I wonder. This is gonna sound fucked up, but I wonder if the person in the E.T. suit and the green one actually got fucked.
I don't know. It's a porno. I'm assuming so.
Yeah, but since the costume is naked, so you see everything.
The costume is naked.
The costume is naked. Well, here's the thing. So you gotta wonder, like, because clearly the boobs are fake. It's not makeup. It's a full-on rubber suit. So it's not like those boobs are actually her boobs just painted green.
Right.
So what about the nether regions? Put you on the spot now.
I can't say I've ever put this much thought into E.T. the porno.
What's the matter, Dylan? You've never thought long and hard about E.T. the porno?
No. At the most, the times that I've... never mind, I'm not gonna use that joke. Okay, so...
I don't know, I'm just wondering now. Anyway, back to Doctor Who.
Okay. I'm looking at Google Images. Clearly, sex is happening.
A porno film by Dylan McCandless. Clearly, sex is happening.
I would so title it that.
Oh my god, I would see that movie in a heartbeat.
With no thoughts about it whatsoever, I would totally make that the title of the porno.
Dylan McCandless's Clearly, Sex is Happening. Co-starring Bill Wurster as the crazy homeless guy from below the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yes.
Oh, God. Starring Adam Noyce. And David Hernandez.
I don't think he's going to be down for that one, Bill.
I think that he will agree. If we throw him some Asians.
No, here's what we do. We convince him that it's a porno spoof of You Only Live Twice. And we want him to play Sean Connery. And we make sure that he does not listen to this episode. Because this would just ruin the whole thing.
Right, I don't think he listens, but we blindfold him, we send him to the jacuzzi, and then we just have Adam come in. And David has no idea. Oh God! So now that we've just verbally described raping a friend of ours, I'm
sure the audience is very entertained.
Indeed.
Yes.
But I'm excited for Day of the Doctor.
Indeed, I am. I am as well. To just go to the other trailer, how cool is it to just see David Tennant and Matt Smith on camera together in one frame?
Oh, Christ. It's magical. It is the definition of magical. And David Tennant fucking being on fire with his line delivery, I was like, oh, God, they're so playing up his return. One of the trailers, he has more dialogue than Matt Smith.
Right. Well, again, it's a trailer, so and that's just what we've seen. But yeah, I think they put a lot more of his dialogue in the trailers, just to attract people. It's like he's back, he's back.
We've had Matt Smith as our Doctor for 3 years now.
It's like David's back. Come back. Come watch our shit. He's back.
Exactly. It's like David Tennant returns in the fucked up camera.
Oh my.
Oh Christ. I would cast David Tennant in my Gamera versus the fucked up Gamera movie.
Day of the Doctor, the porno spoof.
Clearly, sex is happening.
I think he's attempting re-entry, sir.
10, what are you doing? Just keeping the British end up.
But you're a Time Lord.
Exactly.
Just keeping the Gallifreyan end up.
Gallifreyan end up.
Doesn't have a good ring to it, does it?
When was the last time the Doctor fucked?
I'm not sure.
Oh my God, that was such an awkward moment of silence. You're like, Phil, I don't know.
Well,
I'm just wondering now because we never.
We know that before he ever started on his adventures, he had a granddaughter. So
I mean, well, we know he's had children before.
Yeah, he's alluded to this several times. So clearly, sex has happened.
Right. Clearly, sex is happening.
Assuming that Time Lords have the same system that we do.
I don't remember if they mentioned that. I assume so. I don't know. Because they do mention several times that the way Time Lord biology works is very different from human. The whole two hearts thing. So I wonder how different their reproductive system is.
Well, with two hearts,
right. Well, here's the other question.
Obviously, they have enhanced stamina.
Here is the other. They can hold out for a long time. Here's the other thing. They establish in Doctor Who that Time Lords can regenerate not only appearance, but they can also change gender.
Yeah.
That has got to fuck with your brain.
Yeah.
What if the Doctor...
The Sisterhood of Khan gave him that option.
Right, they were like, yeah, exactly. They were like, would you like to be male or female? He's like, I'd like to keep my penis, please.
That was the exact line.
That's a quote verbatim from Paul McGann's scenes from The Night of the Doctor, where he goes,
I'd like to keep my penis, please. Sounds like...
Oh my God, the Sisterhood of Khan was just like, that was never called into question. My penis is always called into question. Okay.
I wonder if they have like a third option. Would you like to be a transgender? Would you like to be...
Yeah, it's very interesting to think that, like, not only is it male female, like, what if it gets fucked up, like, fucking he becomes a transgender, fucking he gets half a dick, half a pussy.
How does that work?
What do you mean, how does that work? It happens sometimes.
No, but how do you get half up anyway?
No, you just you don't have nuts. You just have the actual.
Oh well, that's not half a dick. That's just a dick without nuts.
Well, I mean, it's a dick on top of a pussy.
Yeah, but it's the way you said it. I was like, what?
That's like Two-Face. Oh, so on one side it's just a penis, and the other side it's a vagina. Oh, that would be fucking nasty.
Like, this is horribly misshapen.
Oh God. There was an episode of Family Guy where that was a brief moment where there was a transgender kid, and he was like, "I accidentally fucked myself in the middle of the night." That would be what. Anyway.
Wow.
We went down a very dark rabbit hole here.
The Demons from Outer Space.
The Demons from Outer Space.
A very sexy podcast.
The sexiest podcast from Zazubaar Audio Productions.
Made even better by King Kong winking at them.
Oh God, I just realized that. So not only are they listening to us talk about like half dick, half pussies, and they're seeing Kong just like, oh yeah, you know what's going on under this Jet Jaguar costume.
Only his shoulders up or in frame.
And according to the intro, that's all that is of him, because we don't see anything else.
Right, the rest of him does not exist. Like, you couldn't just have him, like, slide off frame. You had to have him, like, flying through space.
Oh, God.
Just corners.
Oh, shit.
See, the explanation is that Kong Jaguar, or whatever we want to call him,
Kong Jaguar,
is trapped in one of those mirror things from Superman 2.
He's trapped in the Phantom Zone?
Yes.
This is before he gets his neck snapped.
Right.
That's the explanation. It makes sense. The science is sound.
Indeed.
I think my favorite of all the Day of the Doctor trailers, though, easily, was the one that was an exclusive on BBC America. Because, well, alright, two. There's a tie for me. The one on BBC America, because it was shorter, but it had a much more epic feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot more of David Tennant, and, you know, I'm a big Tennant fan, so just to see more of him, I was down for that. I just thought it was a more well-paced trailer.
Mm.
I feel like the original one is a little bit kind of like, and not the one with the footage from previous episodes, the one that was the first one with footage in it. I thought that one was a little bit like unbalanced, but this one was I thought the BBC America one was probably a little bit more well-balanced. But better than both of those even was the one that was like 2 minutes, where it was just like, and I think the moment that made that the last trailer they posted, the one that made that trailer come together for me was when David Tennant and Matt Smith have a brief argument, where David Tennant goes, "For once in my life, I'd like to know where I'm going." And Matt Smith goes, "No, you really wouldn't." I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking genius.
Yeah. He, shit, what was I about to say?
I don't know, Dylan, you tell me.
Fucking hate when this happens. Okay,
I know.
Shit, I don't remember.
This is riveting podcasting.
This is just.
We're gonna win awards for this shit.
This is just revolutionary in its entertainingness. Entertainingness.
Entertainingness. Not only are we being sexy, we're also creating new words.
Entertainingness.
As you can see here, based on this chart, the entertainingness factor is very high on this particular episode.
Yes, the entertainingness is sound.
Fuck you, Webster's Dictionary. We're the real authorities on fucking language.
We came up with entertainingness. What you got, Webster's?
we have the Oxford-approved dictionary. Shut the fuck up.
My people invented ain't.
We got the Street Dictionary. No, I'm pretty sure that's Urban Dictionary. Shut the fuck up. We're the dictionary of the people.
We refuse to define Street Dictionary the same way you do, which is why we call it Street Dictionary.
Indeed, it's one word different. It's fucking different.
So different. It's the absolute most different.
Not only are we rewriting language, we're also rewriting grammar now. Most different.
It's the most different. Well, that actually makes sense, most different. It just didn't work the way I used it.
No, the way you said it was not grammatically correct. To say something is the most different, I think is grammatically correct.
That is sound, yes. But not whatever I just said.
Well, because what else would you say if you wanted to express that idea?
Right. It's the differentest.
I guess you could say the least like.
Mm.
But that just sounds weird.
Then you don't get to use the word different.
Exactly. And if we have to use the word different in this situation...
Because it's a bigger word and we're pretentious. And
Well, I mean, as you can see by the fucking title card, we are very pretentious.
Oh yes, not the Demons from Outer Space podcast, but the Demons from Outer Space, a podcast.
A podcast.
A podcast. From the makers of such charming podcasts as SOS.
In which inventions were come up with, like plane jizz
and Moosla.
And Clarence. Now comes to you a heartwarming family tale about two guys talking about half penis, half vaginas.
Meanwhile, informing America about the threat that is piss pants.
They are the demons from outer space. Hear them roar.
The more you know. Da 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 da.
Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, so the day of the Doctor, we keep going back to that. I'm excited.
Yes, I remember what I was going to say. One of the things that's really cool about this Day of the Doctor thing is that for the first time, I will be watching it at the same time as you kids in Britain.
Oh my God! This is the first time I'll be watching Doctor Who on TV. Because I watched all the other stuff on Netflix and on the internet, so this will be the first time I'll be watching Doctor Who live.
Oh really? I watched the first 4 seasons on like DVD, and then I saw the rest of it on TV first, and then I rewatched it on Netflix. But yes, for the first time, you spoiled fucks in Britain. Do not get you.
You fucking lanky British fucks.
You
tea drinking, fucking chip munching
Anglos.
You teeth rotting, fucking princess worshipping, fucking fox. Will no longer be the sole viewers of live Doctor Who.
I apologize to our British viewers if we have any.
I was about to say, now that we've lost all of our British listeners.
Did we have any?
I think we do. I think we have a couple. By the way, guys, we were kidding.
We love Britain.
I do.
It's where I get my second highest number of imports.
Oh, really?
Well, not like literal imports, but culturally speaking.
Well, that's true.
It's like Japan.
We steal a lot from Britain, so.
It's like Japan, obviously, and then Britain.
Including our fucking country, if you buy into that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we didn't steal it from them, but we conquered it from them.
Indeed.
Or what would you call it? It wouldn't be conquering. I mean, separating it from them. I mean, because it's not really conquering, because we were here already.
Right. Well, they did the conquering. We just.
Well, we liberated ourselves from them, but that's not really the idea I'm trying to evoke.
Technically, they did all of the conquering up to that point, and then after that, we did more conquering by ourselves.
Right. They were dicks, and then we became bigger dicks.
Yes.
So they just kind of moved the Native Americans west, and then we did the genocide.
We're like, and that's why we have The Shining.
Yeah. And then in 1968.
But
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we love Britain, and I apologize for Peter Cushing as the Doctor. I apologize.
Oh, we're so it's not even his fault. It's just like
no, he does.
Fuck.
He does a good job.
Fuck America.
He does a good job as always because he's Peter fucking Cushing and he's awesome. It's the writing, and we apologize, Britain.
Well, it's also not the Doctor. It's some other fucking crazy old guy claiming to be the Doctor.
Let me make a formal apology.
I apologize for something I wasn't born for and had nothing to do with.
I apologize greatly for those 2 American-produced Doctor Who movies.
Yes. How the fuck did that happen?
Do not hold that against us. Well, at that time, and I don't think Doctor Who was being shown in America in any way, shape, or form. So it was just like, hey, there's this thing over there in that country, and it's really popular. Let's adapt it.
Are you sure?
I don't think it was.
I'm gonna check really quick.
Or maybe.
But for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there were 2 American-produced movies called Doctor Who that had nothing to do with Doctor Who.
Because the Doctor is a human, and Susan is... He does have a granddaughter named Susan, but she's small, and the TARDIS looks retarded. Retarded. Ah, ha, ha.
Is it a box?
It's the retardus. What?
Doctor Who and the retardus.
What you asked me?
I haven't seen it. Is the TARDIS a blue box?
The TARDIS is a blue box, but the inside of it is weird.
Yeah, it looks... I've seen the inside. It looks bizarre.
It's like he just took a bunch of wires and like stretched them all over the place, like he was playing Cat's Cradle or something.
Okay, here's the thing. The movie is not supposed to be adapting the character or the universe of Doctor Who. It is simply adapting the story and the characters of the Daleks. So, the creator of the Daleks, Terry Nation, and I'm reading this off the Wikipedia page, so this might be wrong.
No, because if they were going to do that, then the proper way of doing it would have just had like a 50s era B movie with the Daleks as villains.
That's what they did.
Yeah, but if you're not supposed to be adapting the character of the universe, then you shouldn't have a guy named Doctor Who, which that's his name.
Well, I mean, that's another thing. That's his name in this, is Doctor Who, which is not the Doctor's name.
At least with King Kong Escapes, I can think, well, he's Asian. Who's an Asian sounding word?
Yeah, exactly. What year was that?
King Kong Escapes.
Well, I know that was 66, but what year was Doctor Who and the Daleks?
I'm not...
Holy shit, that was only a year before King Kong Escapes.
It was in 65.
Yeah.
So we have two movies back-to-back in which people are named Doctor Who are not Doctor Who.
And then the sequel came out in 66, so, oh my god.
Oh yeah, there was a sequel. I haven't seen that one.
That one is called... Just hang on...
Doctor Who and the Daleks. The porno.
Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD.
That is actually a pretty cool title. But,
But yeah, the story in and of itself is more about... It's more based on the Daleks than actually the Doctor himself. I think their version of the Doctor is just put in there to have it make some kind of sense.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the sequel just because, call me crazy, but after the first one, I decided to skip it.
I haven't seen either, so I'm just basing this on what I read.
I'm trying.
So if he's not a Time Lord, how the fuck does the TARDIS work?
He invented it. It's just, he's a scientist, and it's a Doc Brown situation, pretty much.
So stupid. Is Peter Cushing at least good in it?
Yeah, I mean, for the character he's playing, it's not the Doctor, it's Doctor Who. If you can...
Is he in any way similar to the real Doctor?
Well, that's kind of an interesting question, just because each version of the Doctor is different, but...
Right. Does he bear semblance to any version? Like, does he kind of strike you like Hartnell? Like Troughton?
I get the feeling that given a better movie and better writing and something that was more true to the source material, he could make an amazing Doctor.
I agree.
With what we have, we have a movie that, or we have a performance that is good, but is not really the Doctor.
Right.
Again, he's good in it. I mean, he's Peter Cushing.
Right. Right. I don't know, just the way it sounds, it's kind of striking me like he was doing a ripoff of Hartnell. Because Hartnell had this kind of weird, like, self-aware, crazy old man feel, where he was kind of a crazy old man, but he was self-aware about it.
Right, yeah.
And it was a lot more of a performance than him actually being a crazy old man.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the sense that that's kind of a similar thing that Peter Cushing was going for, except it sounds to me like he was actually a crazy old man.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say crazy. He seems pretty level-headed in that movie.
Really?
Well, no, actually not. I think I would.
He's crazy.
I think I would agree. Now that I think about it harder. Yeah, I would say that is a good way to look at it. Again, he's great. He's Peter Cushing. He's not the Doctor.
Right.
So if you want to see a movie that is essentially Peter Cushing versus Daleks,
if you want Van Helsing fighting Daleks, you've got two movies to choose from.
Because again, haven't seen the second one, but as far as what I saw from I saw the first one. From what I could tell, they were pretty faithful in terms of the Daleks themselves.
They look like the Daleks, but
to the Daleks in the original episode. Don't go in expecting elevating Daleks, because this is old school.
Ascend!
This is old school. They're stuck inside their city Daleks.
Right. This is before they got cool.
This is when they were essentially trash cans with bumper car technology.
Right. I don't think the Daleks really got scary until Genesis of the Daleks.
I mean, yeah.
And then they got scary for a modern, and that's if you have perspective on classic Doctor Who. They don't get legit scary until you get to Dalek from 2005.
Oh yeah.
It's just shit your pants scary.
If you're not terrified at the end of the first season two-parter, or at the end of the first part of the first season two-parter.
What?
The end of the first part of the first season two-parter. The two-parter at the end of season one.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Every season, or at least this is the way it was back with Davies. Moffat likes to play around with the formula. Every season you have a...
Never does two-parters.
You have...
Well, okay. He never calls them that.
Right. It's like plots connected, but they're not really two-parters. But anyway, you would have a two-parter in which Russell T Davies would spend the entirety of the first episode building up the danger that you're in, and then the entirety of the second episode writing himself out of a corner.
Right, exactly.
And this was the progression. Write yourself into a corner, write yourself right back out. And the corner he writes himself into in that first season is quite good.
Yeah.
As is the fourth season one.
1, 3, and 4 are excellent. 2 is just bad.
Well, yeah. I mean.
Well, here's the ultimate problem with season 2.
It's worth the price of admission just to watch the
Daleks and the Cybermen fight. Definitely.
Yeah. That's the reason you watch it. Let's be
But
honest.
it's such a convoluted, nonsensical mess that isn't very clever, I feel. And I kind of feel like they only did it just to... Russell T Davies, I think what you just said is very true for Davies.
Oh yeah, I always had that feeling. It's like, first part of the two-parter, write yourself into a corner, get all this drama going, everybody's like, oh my god, how are they going to get out of this? And then Deus Ex Machina.
Exactly. I think that's very accurate, because I feel like sometimes he writes himself into such an interesting tight corner, but then getting him out of it to a simplified status quo is a fucking mess.
Right, because Stephen Moffat has to do the same thing when he does his season finales usually. But the thing about Stephen Moffat is he's very clever, and he can write himself into a corner, but all the while still leaving himself a back door that we don't see.
Well, I think that here's the difference. I don't think Moffat writes himself into a corner without knowing where the door is, so to speak.
Exactly. It sometimes feels like Davies is just plucking along, writing, and then he has to stop and think, holy shit, how am I going to get myself out of this one?
Right, well, he's like, he gets into the corner, and then he's like, oh, fuck, where's my door? Moffat's like, my door's right here, write myself into a corner, squeeze out, I'm good.
That's why it's like, bam, Rose gets God powers, or bam, turn the Torchwood Tower into a giant vacuum cleaner, essentially, or bam, Archangel Network, or bam, Donna's half Time Lord.
I think I like season 4. I like parts of the ending of it. I'm not talking about the end of time. I'm talking about Journey's End.
Right. I don't consider that to be. I consider that like year of specials to be separate from season 4, but not really season 5. I call it 4.5.
Well, I just call it the end of Tennant's run. But here's the thing. What is the thing, Dylan? No, I'm sorry. I feel like in season 4, that story is really good,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the explanation is fucking dumb. I don't like having two doctors and Donna being half Time Lord.
Yeah, up until they get to that point, it's my favorite of the season finales that Davies did. Up until they get to that point, and then he just pisses it all away, and it's like, yeah, still like season 3 better.
Oh, season 3 is probably that finale is definitely the best of them. I kind of like the story of season 4 a little bit more. I think it has more really great episodes in it.
Yeah. I'm just talking about the season finale.
The finale.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the finale specifically. If we want to talk about entire season mechanics, we can get to that later. But
right,
just
definitely.
Up until that point, I feel like he had the strongest thing going. Davros is probably the greatest Doctor Who villain we've seen so far.
Oh Christ!
I mean, he's
Davros. Oh, God.
He's essentially the Emperor from Star Wars, but like part Dalek. And
right.
And I love the Emperor from Star Wars, so when I saw him, I was like, my God, I'm gonna like.
Right, that and also Dalek Khan.
Dalek Khan.
Right. Yes. God, that name keeps coming up tonight.
In Doctor Who.
But him and Dalek, is it Dalek Khan? I think it's Dalek Khan.
I'm pretty sure it's Dalek Khan. See, we just needed Davros as he was dying to yell, Khan! Khan! But he was too busy naming the Doctor the Destroyer of Worlds that he missed that obvious reference.
I am become death, the Destroyer of Worlds! In context, that doesn't really make any sense, because I'm the one killing you.
Shut up!
I don't like the second Doctor. The other one, the clone.
Mm-hmm.
I find him annoying.
Mm. Well, the idea...
he's the same person, but for some reason I just find him annoying.
Well, you know, David Tennant has that line, he's me before we met. So he's essentially supposed to be Eccleston with David Tennant's face. Which is weird.
That's not really what it is, though. Because Chris Eccleston was always serious until given a reason to be goofy. And it's not and let me just say this, that part of it is not Tennant's fault. That's just the writing. Right.
The Tennant clone is just like
it's just so fucking dumb.
He's like out for blood, man.
That's the cool. All right, that part of it is awesome. I like how they go into it's me before we met. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
He comes to Dalek like whatever it was called, the big ship or whatever, and he's just like, I'm gonna fuck your shit up. He's like, I'm just gonna fuck your shit up. And
exactly, that was awesome. But the explanation isolated it from everything else is just fucking dumb.
Right, it's like there's so much going on with like Donna and him, and just pick one.
Exactly.
Or better
it's
yet,
like we don't need 3 fucking Time Lords.
Or better yet, just scrap them all and come up with a better one, because I don't really care for any of them individually. But if you're gonna do them, at least pick one.
I agree. I completely agree.
And all this stuff with Donna is really pointless, because it's like, I'm gonna ruin this 1 year from now.
Yeah, pretty much. I definitely think he made up for all that messiness with, of course, the End of Time. I think that was definitely a nice little cleanup routine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there were parts of it that I was like, did we really need this? Like everything the Master's doing that's not involved with bringing the other Time Lords to the Earth is like, why? What is the point of this in the end? At the end of the day,
why does the Master have to have implied cannibalism?
At the end of the day, At the end of the day, Mr. Davies, why does the Master race plot line matter? Why is that important for us to see? Why is that a thing that had to happen? It doesn't really accomplish anything.
Well,
like, you brought the Master back, and he's got Emperor powers. It's cool, whatever.
There's a reason to it. I have to rewatch it. I don't think it's pointless. I think it's just like, I think it's a weird fucking idea.
It is a weird fucking idea.
I think that he could have come up with something a little less ridiculous.
Right, like that in and of itself kind of kills the first part of End of Time for me. Just
It does a little bit, doesn't it? It's a little bit like, this is really kind of dumb.
like that just kills that part of it, just a smidge.
Everything else is really good. This part is like, what?
But then you get to the second part, and Timothy Dalton is Rassilon, and you're like,
And
yes,
then you
yes,
you're like, oh, okay, we're good.
yes.
I also find the cactus people to be kind of,
I have never rooted for a villain in Doctor Who more than at that moment when I was like, kill him, Timothy Dalton.
Kill the Doctor, but I'm the protagonist. I don't care.
Kill this character that I have been devotedly following all these years.
Kill him like it hurts. I'm wondering if he's gonna. I'm wondering if he's gonna make a cameo in Day of the Doctor.
He should, because he's the president of the Time Lords, and it's...
Well, I mean, I think he kind of has to at this point, right? Because
everything that we're seeing, I'm pretty sure we're going to finally see the actual Time War in this episode.
Oh, clearly. I mean, there's clips of it in the trailer, so we're definitely going to see chunks of the Time War.
So there has to be some Timothy Dalton. Give us Timothy Dalton, Stephen Moffat. If you have a soul, give us Timothy Dalton.
Definitely. I mean, he hasn't steered us wrong so far. Everything he's done has just been awesome. Like, I was worried for a stretch there that it wasn't going to have anything to do with the Time War.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally revealed it. I was like, thank God, it makes sense.
Right.
We're finally going to find out what happened in this fucking war.
We're finally going to see at least a piece of it, but probably not all of it, because they want to save that for more episodes.
I just care about the important parts.
It's like...
They also, if they're going to explain McGann's regeneration, I would kind of like it if they could get Eccleston for like a minute, like get him off the street and be like, hey Eccleston, come here. What? And like fucking knock him out.
They just take a picture of him so that they can digitally put his face at the end of a regeneration sequence.
Exactly. Because now we have a canon regeneration for McGann.
And then they get sued. And everybody wants to know why the Ninth Doctor's wearing elf makeup, and it's a big mess.
They took him off the set of Thor 2. Oh, God.
They're just like, no, they just took a still shot from the movie.
And it was when he was, like, taking a piss.
Doctor, what are you going Doctor, what are you going to do now? I'm going to kill Thor. What? Why are you going to kill Thor? Because I failed to kill the G.I. Joes.
He starts saying it in the elf language. Oh, God.
Like, Eccleston, you're getting way too meta on us, man.
I know. Eccleston's kind of gone... Eccleston's, I mean, I love him. I love him to death. He's kind of gone nuts. You gotta wonder.
It's like, dude, you were in G.I. Joe. Go be in the 50th anniversary right now.
I know. It's like, dude, come on. I get it. You had some shit with the producers, but dude...
I mean...
You were Deathstroke.
I mean... Thor 2, good on ya, but you were still in G.I. Joe.
Right, I mean, you were awesome as Malekith, but still, G.I. Joe fucking Rise of Cobra.
You were in it, Christopher Eccleston.
You're just whispering in his ear.
And you can never not be in it.
He starts crying. Oh no, I'm sorry.
It's like the internet once it's in theaters. It's out there forever.
If you build it, they will come. Who said that?
You're gonna die in 7 days.
Oh.
Red rum.
What's going on?
Stanley Kubrick faked the moon landing.
Why are these people talking to me? Who said that?
We didn't start the fire.
Oh, God.
All of a sudden, he just hears a slightly darker voice. Where are the other trucks going?
What was that? You just see the last minute of Batman running out the window.
This needs to be a movie now, and it's just called Christopher Eccleston Goes Insane. He watches G.I. Joe, and it just causes him to have a break with reality.
He watches the movie on Blu-ray, and fucking he has nightmares about it, and these are his nightmares. No. We do a version of the Christmas Carol with Christopher Eccleston as Scrooge.
It's so sad because if that was a better movie, because Christopher Eccleston I think is good in it.
What movie?
G.I. Joe.
I haven't even. I don't even care. I don't even want to see it.
It's a terrible movie, but Eccleston is decent in it, I think. And it's just like, he makes a great villain. It's the first time I saw him as a villain. I'm like, if this was a better movie, oh my god.
as a fellow James Bond fan, I'm going to pose this to you. Imagine him as Blofeld.
My god.
Doesn't that make sense?
It's got to be either him or Cumberbatch.
I agree. I think Cumberbatch would almost be better as a younger villain. Like, imagine him as, like, Emilio Largo.
Wait, no. Benedict Cumberbatch is Francisco Scaramanga.
I would pay to see that, dude. I would pay. No, don't you think they kind of had? All right, I love Silva. I love him being his own thing. I think that at the end of the day, him being his own thing is better off because now we can put him as his own Bond villain on the list of great Bond villains.
Right, it's not like Star Trek Into Darkness. It's not like everybody. Well, you know, there were like people that were like, Silva's gonna turn out to be Blofeld.
Well, dude, they tease it because there's a moment where he goes, "That's not my real name," and I'm like, "Oh shit, he's somebody we know."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh no, his name is just Rodriguez." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
His name is Rodriguez.
His name is A-Rod. A-Rod went nuts and joined the Secret Service and became a James Bond villain.
And tried to kill himself with cyanide.
Oh, Christ.
Skyfall actually takes place in an alternate future where A-Rod has gone insane.
He's gone nuts, and he just he joins the British Secret Service. And he goes on a mission, and he tries to kill himself, and for some reason he's fixated on killing James Bond.
He comes back to destroy the British Secret Service.
First, the British Secret Service, then the New York Yankees!
My God. Shouldn't you be doing that in the other order? It seems like that one would be a little easier than the other.
No! First, the British Secret Service, and then the Yankees.
He does it all Bane style. He's at the Yankee Stadium, and he's like, what a lovely voice.
What a lovely singing voice.
It's like, A-Rod, why are you
New York?
A-Rod, why are you impersonating a different movie villain now? Don't question it.
Just go with it.
Well, what's your
think of all the money I spent.
What's your plan, Bane? To blow up this stadium.
Bane.
To blow up this stadium with no survivors.
I think Bane Rod makes more sense. Bane Rod.
That sounds like a character from a porno spoof.
The Bane Rod rises.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh, you could literally just call it.
Captain Klingons are taking us from the rear.
You could literally just call it The Dark Knight Rises. Oh my.
Sure, you could call it The Dark Knight Rises without changing it.
What?
Oh God.
What are you talking about? Oh yeah, why it's a good thing that Silva is his own thing. That's what.
Oh yeah, because if he had turned out to be Blofeld, or I actually thought for a minute he was going to be Scaramanga. Mainly because of
when they do the whole thing with like his jaw, I'm like, are you supposed to be an intelligent version of Jaws? Because I don't.
That's what David thought. I was like, yeah, that makes sense too. But what I think he might be Scaramanga is
the interesting thing is he actually kind of looks like Jaws a little bit in the face.
Definitely. Just with blonde hair.
Yeah.
Well, here's why I thought he might be Scaramanga. Was
he had a third nipple.
Because I looked. Oh God.
Everybody else was like really focused on the intense dialogue between him and Daniel Craig, and you were counting the nipples.
They were popping out. Yeah, I was looking at him.
He's like, he's got 3.
I saw it with my dad, so that would have been really creepy. If I had gone up to the screen and I just started like tracing them with a magic marker on the screen.
Your dad's like, what are you doing? He has 3 nipples.
I've gone nuts at this point.
Dad, she has 3 nipples.
You know what that means, do ya? I've been to space.
Because I've been to space.
That's like, okay.
I am from this point on disowning you. You are no longer my son. Wow.
Three nipples. Do you know what this could mean to science? It could mean actual advances in the field of science.
Do you know what this means? What? Absolutely nothing.
I just love that line. Do you know what this could mean to science? It could mean actual advances in the field of science.
What was that from? Shit, what was that? What was that movie called?
The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra.
Lost Skeleton of Cadavra. Yeah, that was it. Oh, I love that fucking trailer. It's fight. You just see this skeleton hanging off of a monster.
I have yet to actually watch the actual movie.
I haven't seen the movie in full myself, but I have seen the trailer, and it's fucking funny as hell.
The trailer is amazing. Just for that one line alone, because right before it, they have the like text on screen that like, he was a man of science. And he's like, do you know what this could mean to science? It could mean actual advances in the field of science.
It's just this fucking meteorite. It has nothing. Oh, it's such a funny fucking scene. Wow, we went off on a tangent. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. There's a moment in the trailer of Skyfall where it's in the movie, but it's a little bit more powerful in the trailer because it's quick. Where Silva is shooting the gun when him and James Bond are having the gun contest, where they're gonna shoot the chick and shoot the brandy off her head, and he just fucking shoots her in the stomach. Oh shit, what's happening? Recording again. Anyway, that was a brief break. So what were we talking about? Oh yeah, I remember. Okay.
You were still trying to.
So there's a shot. I keep trying to get to this point. I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a shot in the Skyfall trailer where Silva shoots the gun, and when I saw it in the trailer, I was like, "Holy shit, that's a golden gun! It's fucking Scaramanga!" And it wasn't a golden gun.
That was just your eyes deceiving you. You know, this makes an interesting segue, because wasn't there something James Bond related we wanted to talk about this week?
There was. Dylan, why don't you start off?
All right. Just this week, because ever since this whole Room 237 thing on SOS, given that this is being recorded a week in advance, you should definitely know what I'm talking about. Ever since this whole Room 237 thing on SOS, I have been addicted to documentaries. And they've taught me so many things. I have a new hatred for George Lucas. But anyway, out of all this, I finally watched a little documentary that came out last year for the James Bond 50th anniversary called Everything or Nothing. I forget the subtitle.
The true story of 007.
And so I messaged Bill and I asked him if he had seen it, and of course he was like, "Fuck yes!" And so we decided that we would talk about it here for you folks, and not really review it, but just sort of, you know.
Well, because it's an odd thing to review. I mean,
it's a documentary.
Right.
But I mean, there are definitely praises and criticisms that can be levied against it. So yeah, well, we're just gonna, you know.
Yeah, brief thoughts. I can't go into too many specifics because it's been about a year since I've seen the thing. I watched it. Is it still on Netflix?
Yes, that's where I watched it.
Okay. Wow, it lasted. I saw it last year, the month where James Bond hit its big stride and anniversary. November was the big month for James Bond last year.
Yeah.
And I watched it then, and it is a fucking wonderful documentary.
It is indeed. It goes all the way from Ian Fleming through to Casino Royale. I can't really say that it covers the Daniel Craig era because it talks about Casino Royale and then it just sort of skips over the rest. And that's...
Yeah, they mention Quantum of Solace, and they don't go into Skyfall, obviously, because the film hadn't been released yet, but...
That's the only problem I really have with the documentary, is that they tend to skip over large chunks of James Bond history in terms of the movies themselves. But that's all right, because it's not really focused on the movies themselves anyway. The documentary is much more about three men.
Right.
Oh my. It is much more about...
Oh my.
The documentary is more about Ian Fleming, Broccoli, whatever his first name is.
Albert
Albert Broccoli, and Harry Saltzman.
Yeah, and they do a little bit on Kevin McClory as well, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Oh yeah. And you know, they also talk about all the individual Bonds. My God, does this give you a new appreciation for George Lazenby?
Yeah, I mean, I already had a crush on Lazenby because I fucking love On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But yeah, you just get a sense of like this guy got robbed out of playing Bond more times because
what I never realized about George Lazenby, because I guess it just didn't come through to me when I watched the movie. But when you hear him talking in person just about how he got the role, George Lazenby is a badass.
He is
like a total, complete badass.
Also, isn't the interview did they interview him? I don't remember now.
Yeah.
Isn't he like on a cliff next to the Aston Martin?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Here's the thing. I watched another documentary around the same time I watched that one, and there's a shot where George Lazenby is being interviewed, leaning on a car that looks like the Aston Martin over a cliff.
That is amazing.
You're just like, Jesus Christ, this guy's awesome.
Yeah, George Lazenby is... yeah, this movie, as I said, gives you a new appreciation for George Lazenby. And reinforces my appreciation for Timothy Dalton. The man's in an interview, and he still sounds like he's reading Shakespeare or something.
I love myself some Dalton. You know me and Dalton, dude. I love Timothy Dalton as James Bond. Still my favorite James Bond.
But, you know, they go through everybody, obviously. You know, they go through Connery, obviously, and then they give the little thing on Lazenby, and then Connery's return, and then Roger Moore, and then more Connery, and then...
more Connery, God.
And then you get to Dalton, and then you get to... what's that?
Brosnan.
Yeah, yes, Brosnan. Well, actually, you kind of get to Brosnan before you get to Dalton, because
because they cover how he was almost James Bond in the Living Daylights.
Yeah, and so you actually get to talk to him before you get to Dalton. Then you get Dalton. Then you get Brosnan, which they only really talk about GoldenEye, but I don't blame them. And
then they also cover Die Another Day a little bit, particularly the scene
he has a line where he mentions the skiing or whatever, and then the
ice surfing.
Somebody
and he just starts laughing, and I was like, he gets it.
Somebody talks about the invisible car.
Yeah, it's like that's going too far.
That's a bit about it. And then with I wish they had gone more in depth on the Daniel Craig stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, all they talk about with Daniel Craig, and I said this to you in the PMs, is how dumb people were when they were like, oh, he's going to be terrible as James Bond because his hair is blonde.
Yeah, I mean, they also talk about they talk about Casino Royale and what's great about it and why it's so different from...
why it's just a great movie and all.
Yeah, why it's so different from what had just come before. And I am so sorry, but I have to be RB again.
It's okay.
This should be the last time.
Okay. And I have been left on my own again. While Dylan is BRB, I will discuss in the intervening minutes why Casino Royale is one of my favorite movies of all time. So recently I have decided that Casino Royale has replaced the first Superman movie on my list of top 10 favorite films of all time. And that is because there is not a moment in that movie where I go, I wish this was cut out. I wish this was different. Everything about Casino Royale to me, when I watch it, is perfect. Now, there are definitely some criticisms you can say against it when you go back and look at it, but while you're watching it, that movie is so effective at sucking you into this espionage-filled world that I feel like it's almost a perfect movie to me. I think the performances are excellent. I think the plot is great. I'm a big action movie guy, so it's just the perfect action movie to me. But interestingly enough, I don't think it's my favorite James Bond movie. I wouldn't put it there, but just all in all, just film-wise, it's one of my favorite movies. Just for the reason of I think it's one. It's while you're watching it, it strikes me as the closest thing to a perfect experience that that a James Bond movie could get. But again, it's weird because it's one of my favorite movies, but it's not my favorite James Bond movie. It's weird. Anyway, Dylan, I'm talking about Casino Royale.
Ah, okay, yes.
It's this weird thing for me where I think I've recently decided that it has replaced the first Superman movie in my top 10 favorite films list, but it's not my favorite James Bond movie. It's weird.
See, I'm not really sure whether I enjoy it more than Skyfall or not. They're kind of...
No, I think Skyfall is a little bit more entertaining, but Casino Royale is just such a great version of the book, and also... I think it's like the closest thing to a perfect action movie while you're watching it. Because there's definitely things you can criticize it for when you look back on it in retrospect. But in terms of immersing you into a story, I think it's one of the most effective action movies I've ever seen.
Right. Yeah, I could agree with that. I don't know. It's kind of neck and neck with Skyfall for me. I haven't quite figured out which one I like more.
I think Skyfall is definitely a better fan James Bond movie.
Oh yeah.
Which is fitting because it's the 50th anniversary. But
Skyfall is about as close to classic Bond as you can get in the Daniel Craig universe.
Yeah, definitely. Which I think is a reason why a lot of people rave about it as much as they do, and it's deserved. I fucking love Skyfall, but
because ever since the Daniel Craig Bond universe has started, people are like, I miss old James Bond.
I want it to be campy again, and they're like, here it is. It's a little campier. I mean, it's still dead serious, but...
Yeah, what is it about James Bond that has people saying that? Nobody ever says, I want campy Batman again, or...
No, people have been saying that, and I can't stand it. Oh yeah, people have been saying that. I don't want camp. I don't like... I don't know, this is going to sound weird. I don't like camp. At least in... I don't know. I don't want it in James Bond, and I don't want it in Batman because I don't find it like I don't want it to just be campy for the sake of being campy. You know what I mean? Right. Like if you're gonna do another campy Godzilla movie or a campy James Bond movie or a campy Batman movie, it has to be extremely. I think it needs to be a Grant Morrison-esque take on it, where you do these insane ideas and you just play them straight and tell a serious story.
Well, it's all about getting a good balance between the camp and the seriousness. Examples of this being, I would say GoldenEye. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Trying to think of a Batman example. Love Forever for its camp, but I don't think it has balance.
No, I think Forever is the closest.
That and I know you don't like 89, but 89 has a pretty good balance going on.
I wouldn't call 89 campy though, at least not in the way that I'm talking about.
Well, the Jack Nicholson scenes are pretty campy.
Yes, but I'm talking like colorful, bright kind of like Batman 66 campy.
Right. Yeah.
It's very over the top, but it's not like. I don't know. I can see what you're saying, but I would call that performance more over the top than campy.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, good example. GoldenEye, or to actually go to an example that comes from the era of camp, Goldfinger.
Goldfinger is a great campy James Bond movie, and again, because it plays it straight. There's a reason why Roger Moore's movies don't really resonate with me. It's because he does everything with such a wink and a smile, where I'm like, that can be cool and shit. Like The Spy Who Loved Me is really good at that.
Yeah. It works really well in that movie.
But my favorite, and I think Live and Let Die, I have a lot of nostalgia for. So I think I forgive that movie on a lot of grounds that I wouldn't on others. But I think that kind of strikes a good balance, because at least that movie has violence in it.
Right.
When you get to Moonraker, it's like, this is just fucking dumb.
I always thought that when I watched Moonraker, the thing that I would hate about it was the moon stuff. It's actually the fact that it is such a on the nose.
Piece of shit.
Well, but it's such an on the nose clone of The Spy Who Loved Me.
Oh, definitely.
With the moon. And
right.
It's bad for that. It's really bad for that.
The Spy Who Loved Me is definitely kind of a fluke in the James Bond series for me, because, again, I don't like campy James Bond. Or not campy James Bond, over-the-top James Bond. Because The Spy Who Loved Me is a science fiction film before it's an espionage film.
Right, yeah.
And because Goldfinger, while it's campy, is definitely a lot more of an espionage thriller than science fiction.
And the weird thing is, as much as I hate Moonraker for being a clone of Spy Who Loved Me, there's this weird thing though that if you're watching it, it's not that painful to watch when they're doing the rip-off stuff. It's when they get to the moon where it becomes just painful to watch. So
right, because it's derivative of what you liked about The Spy Who Loved Me, but it's kind of a half-hearted attempt.
Right, it's like the thing about hating Moonraker for being a rip-off is it's the kind of thing that occurs to you later.
Right, exactly, where it's like, oh. I think the most painful James Bond movie to watch. Ooh.
For me, it's Octopussy.
Yeah, I don't like Octopussy. Thunderball. I'm gonna say Thunderball. I don't like Thunderball at all. That's mine.
Yeah. For me, I have the same thing with Octopussy that you have with Thunderball, is that even more so than Thunderball, I find Octopussy to be the most boring movie in the...
I don't know, Dylan, when you watch it, do you find yourself falling asleep?
What, Octopussy?
Like, literally, like, falling asleep.
I have dozed off before, yes.
Dude, I passed out for a good half the movie with Thunderball. I'm going to say this right now. I think in terms of filmmaking, Die Another Day is probably still the worst James Bond movie.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
But in terms of the one that I like the least, I find the least watchable, Thunderball. Because at least all the other ones are you're able to make fun of them. I find Thunderball just a fucking boring trod.
I don't know. Octopussy is just so... I would rather a movie be bad, like either enjoyably so or just bad on a technical level, than be boring.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you're gonna make a bad movie, make it funny, and Thunderball is not funny.
Because I can make fun of bad.
Right, exactly, precisely.
I can't make fun of boring. Other than to say this is boring.
Well, I think what it comes down to is energy. Because if a movie is boring, you don't have any energy with you. Because the movie is draining it out of you. That's what makes it boring.
That's what makes Godzilla's Revenge especially bad. Is that not only is it bad, but I also find it boring.
Yeah, I would say so. Although you gotta admit there are some scenes where it does have a little bit of energy to it.
Yeah, but the majority of it...
I think that's what makes a movie that's bad and a movie that's boring different. Bad has energy to it, boring has no energy to it.
Right.
Like, that's what I think makes Godzilla 98 especially unforgivable, because it's just generic. There's no energy to it.
I would be able to enjoy it in the same way that I do like Independence Day if it wasn't called Godzilla, because then it would just be it would just be an entertaining enough...
No, but even with that point aside, I still feel like as just a disaster movie, it lacks energy. I think that everything is just so derivative of what he'd done before that it's difficult to make fun of, and it's not good by any means, so I think that's a major problem. And I think that's what kind of makes, like, I'm totally with you. If it's not Godzilla, it cuts off half the criticisms that I love at that movie. But even calling it not Godzilla, I still think it doesn't make it good. I think it makes it tolerable, not good.
It's like we have a fan version of Star Wars Episode 1 called The Phantom Edit out there. Why don't we have a version of 98 where somebody just goes in and just dub all the lines where they say Godzilla and replace it with something else?
The Rhinodon or whatever. What was the Rhinoceros from Beast from 20,000 Fathoms?
Or they could just call it, giant fucking iguana. I don't care.
Giant fucking iguana is still alive.
It's giant fucking iguana, you moron. It's like, he said the same thing. No, but...
He didn't say it with a New York accent.
because that's the difference.
We're already an hour and 35 minutes in, so I want to wrap up with one last discussion. Kevin McClory.
Kevin McClory.
What a greedy, a greedy, moronic prick who didn't know what he had.
Yes. If you were listening, Kevin. Oh wait, you're dead. Okay. If the ghost of Kevin McClory can hear me right now.
Next to the ghost of Piss Pants.
Because they hang out and shit.
They're buddies.
Ghost of Kevin McClory. Fuck you.
Just fuck you. Here's why. So, for those of you who don't know, Kevin McClory is one of the writers or producers rather, who Ian Fleming asked to help him out write a James Bond movie script. Because Fleming thought that Bond would work just as well on screen as he did in book form. So, he wrote an original story set for the screen called Thunderball. And he got McClory and this other dude, I forgot his name, to help him out. And the screenplay for Thunderball is the first time that Spectre and Blofeld are mentioned. Which is different in the films, but in the books, that's where it's first brought up. Then Fleming, the idea was scrapped, and Fleming just decided to adapt the script into a book, which McClory sued for, because he said that Fleming did not create the character of Blofeld. He stole that from him, and that he wants rights to Blofeld. Even if that's true, which I don't think it was ever legitimately proven, because this was in court for years. Even if that's true, what the fuck is the point? Why do you want the rights to this character if you're not going to do anything with it?
Right.
Because basically what he wanted was, he wanted the rights to Thunderball, so he could make his own version of Thunderball, which he did. It was called Never Say Never Again. Or as I like to call it, Never Watching This Movie Again. You get it?
Never say you're never say you'll never play James Bond again.
Yeah. It is garbage. I hate Never Say Never Again. I think it's trash. I hate that movie. I don't know which one I like less. I'd probably say I like Never Say Never Again less than Thunderball.
Yeah.
So what happened was McClory made Never Say Never Again, and then, get this, and this is in the documentary, sued for the rights to James Bond himself.
Yeah. Here's the thing. This guy spent, like, the rest of his life in court.
Basically, he spent from 1960 to the time of his death trying to get his hand on James Bond. He is basically a real-life James Bond villain.
Pretty much, yeah.
And when he was dying in the early 2000s...
Because, I mean,
after
look at such evil strategy he used as to get Sean Connery for his film, and just to draw people to watch it instead of the newest Roger Moore flick, which I'm pretty sure they watched both because Roger Moore beat him.
Yeah. Octopussy was more successful. Not by much, but it was... Because here's the thing, Never Say Never Again was panned critically, but it did really well. It was a financial success.
Yeah, they gave the numbers in the documentary, and it wasn't that far behind Octopussy.
No, the movie did well. The reason why it didn't go anywhere and why it didn't matter was because they were only allowed to make one James Bond movie.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, it didn't matter that it did well because, hey guys, guess what? You don't own the character. You only own the rights to the movie. So
what are you gonna do? Keep remaking Thunderball?
They couldn't even do that. They had the rights to make one movie, so they couldn't even do that. So they fucked up. So Kevin McClory's a dick, and I believe he also had the rights to Casino Royale somehow. I'm not sure how.
I don't. I seem to remember them mentioning this in the documentary. I don't remember the details of it myself. But yeah, because they had to wait. They didn't wait to do Casino Royale until 2005 for no reason, or 6.
Yeah, it was because they didn't have the rights to the book.
Yeah, they had to wait. They had no choice.
Right. So here's the other thing. MGM, the company who owns James Bond, is a Sony company.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was, when they got the rights to James Bond, all McClory's bullshit got added in. So they got the rights to Casino Royale back, and I just dropped my phone. They got the rights to Casino Royale back, but I'm wondering, did they also get Blofeld? I'm assuming yes, right? Wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah.
So, bearing that in mind, therefore, they could definitely do Blofeld in the new continuity, which I am praying to God that they do! Daniel Craig's only got 2 more James Bond movies in his contract, and they've said that it's going to be a 2-parter.
Yeah, give us...
Why not do On Her Majesty's Secret Service and You Only Live Twice as a 2-parter?
Or something in that vein, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, the same story, where he gets married and shit, you do Blofeld, you do Spectre, or you make him the leader of Quantum. First things first, bring Quantum back, because we never wrapped up that story.
Yes. Make Quantum the Spectre of this universe, or have Quantum and Spectre connected somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe Spectre is the secret society within the secret society.
The Sons of Spectre.
The Sons of Spectre.
Yes.
The Sons of Solace.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. If you haven't seen Everything or Nothing, definitely do yourself a favor and check it out. It is a wonderful documentary.
I had one more problem with it.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
When they get to the modern era, they claim that the reason that they decided to reboot James Bond and make it gritty was in response to 9/11. Like, they do this whole thing about how it didn't seem right to have campy Bond after that. To which I call bullshit, because...
I'm like, did you guys not see Batman Begins?
No, here's the thing. You can't claim that you decided to make it gritty because you're in the post-9/11 world when Die Another Day came out in 2002.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the reason why Die Another Day was critically panned was not because of 9/11. It was because it was a bad movie.
Right. If the whole reason that they wanted to reboot and make it serious was because of 9/11, then they would have booted Brosnan and there wouldn't have been a Die Another Day.
Right, exactly. I mean, the thing is, the Daniel Craig universe definitely is rooted in a 9/11 world.
Oh yeah, it's definitely Bond in the post 9/11 world. The thing is, though, you can't make the claim that that's the reason you...
No, definitely not. I don't think that's fair at all. I think the reason is because of fucking Batman Begins.
Because the dates just don't match up. If Die Another Day had come out in 2001, that would have made more sense. Right. But it came out in 2002, which means it was probably still in production in 2001. So...
Yep, it's true.
It doesn't work. This
is very true.
The science is not sound.
No, not at all. I have always said that Casino Royale is wonderful, but it is nothing more than a response to the success of Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like Batman Begins did really good. Okay, guess we're going Dark Bond. Let's go.
Yeah, well, not Dark Bond. It's the fact that they rebooted.
The difference being is that with Batman, it's like, let's take Batman back to his dark roots, and with Bond, it was like, well, we've never had Dark Bond in film because even
I would say that it's taking him back to his book roots.
Yeah, which is what Dalton tried to do before, but the audiences didn't respond to it as they did now.
Yeah, I mean, License to Kill and parts of The Living Daylights are clearly Dalton desperately trying to be closer to the books and be dark. And I think, License to Kill straight up succeeds.
Oh, yeah.
I love License to Kill.
Definitely. The problem with License to Kill, the reason that it didn't go over well is that audiences just weren't ready for Dark Bond.
Well, they weren't ready for Bond that was rated R.
Then you come into the modern era where everything's getting dark reboots. And
so it would be kind of bizarre to do Bond. It just makes sense for Bond to be dark now.
Right.
So, and I think that's what made Skyfall so brilliant, was how self-aware it was of the climate of society, and the fact that there are a lot of people out there who were like, who the fuck needs James Bond in this post-9/11 world? And they're like, here's why.
Yeah,
and that's what Skyfall's about.
It's another one of those interesting parallels between Skyfall and GoldenEye, is that not only are there some similarities between the character of Silva and Alec from GoldenEye, but, you know, GoldenEye was all about, do we need James Bond in the post-Cold War world?
Exactly. Which, again, they were like, yeah.
Yeah, there are still bad guys.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about those four Brosnan films is I think that you can tell that they were looking for a villain, though, because all four of those movies, they never pick out a specific nationality or a group of people to say are villains, because it's all different. First film, it's Alec Trevelyan and Russian separatists who are trying to go back to the Cold War. Tomorrow Never Dies, it's a media tycoon and a little bit of China. And they bring terrorism in that a little bit. And then The World Is Not Enough. Oh God, I don't remember The World Is Not Enough well enough.
I don't remember the nationality of that villain. Quietest vamping.
Anyway, so, yep. Yeah, I would say that's true.
Yeah, it's weird because in Skyfall, I feel like Silva's like a combination of Alec and the villain from Tomorrow Never Dies. Or not Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, because you take former MI6 agent and combine that with personal grudge against M. What do you get?
Yep. I thought the same thing. I thought the same exact thing. I would also say there's a little bit of... I mean, he's a hacker, so there's a little bit of that guy. There's also a little bit of GoldenEye in there in that way.
All we needed was for Silva to jump up and say, "Yes, I'm invincible."
And then just fucking liquid liquid nitrogen just goes all over him.
There goes Hobo Bill again.
Oh, fuck you.
Ho Bill.
That's our episode title. Ho Bill.
Ho Bill.
Yeah,
the episode title has to either be Ho Bill or Clearly Sex is Happening.
Exactly. Anyways, Everything or Nothing. It's a good documentary if you're a James Bond fan. It's kind of a must-watch.
It has an unheard of 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's really good stuff.
This blows my mind. Have you ever seen anything to have 100% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Not that I remember.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
I mean, nothing ever maintains anything over a 90, so... I don't really take Rotten Tomatoes seriously anymore in a world where fucking Forrest Gump has a 76% rated fresh rating.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's fucking horseshit.
But still, it has a 100. That's pretty legit.
No, I mean, it's definitely true. It's a good-ass documentary. Available on Netflix. Check it out. Good shit. Anyway, so we have gone about 2 hours. So, again, we're killing it for dude fucking every episode.
Yeah, when my internet's working.
Yeah, when your internet's working. And we had a lot of breaks this time, but it doesn't matter. We still pulled out a good episode. Anyway, so I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Demons from Outer Space. Be sure to check out Superdm64's channel, my good buddy here, for his regular show, Kaiju Spotlight.
Semi-regular.
Semi-regular.
I'm going to try to have there be at least one episode in November.
Yeah.
I might take December off. Or at least half of it.
Yeah, you deserve it, dude. You put a lot of work into that 10-minute Frankenstein episode.
Oh, yeah. 10 whole minutes, man. It's pretty tough.
Indeed. I've got shit coming up, but it's all kind of just ideas right now, so I'm not going to talk about any of that. But I will say this. When it comes out, I don't know what the updates will be looking like by the time this episode gets posted, but Shenpei's Toy Shop! It's happening. Be sure you can look for updates on it on both Facebook at Toho Nation or on Twitter at Bill_Worcester for perhaps more regular updates on that. So look out for that. It's a documentary about the truth about Godzilla's revenge.
Yes.
It's going to be fucking awesome.
Watch Shinpei's Toy Shop and have your eyes opened.
Indeed. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Demons from Outer Space. I'm Bill Worster, a.k.a. Zazubaar.
I'm Superdm64.
And them Germans, they be fucked up!